let's talk about what I watched in July. If you hear noises outside, I'm sorry, I closed all my windows and there's some sort of delivery happening outside and it's very loud. Okay, so this is going to be pretty short since this month I was moving to a different state and it was also my birthday and I just started a new business. So bear with me, but I still wanted to share because I did watch some stuff that I liked. So first up, I'm going to group all of these together. I watched the Hell House series of movies. I think there's 4. First one, love Hell House, classic. Not too scary if you're worried about that. It's a little campy. Let's go ahead and read the description for that. 5 years after an unexpected malfunction causes the death of 15 tour-goers and staff on the opening night of a Halloween haunted house tour, a documentary crew travels back to the scene of the tragedy to find out what really happened. So I really like movies like Hell House, like Haunt, Bloodfest, Hellfest, House October Built. I love those kinds of movies because I'm an active haunt goer. And I'm really excited because I just moved to Portland and there's a ton of them here. We're not here to talk about that though. I would definitely say that the first Hell House and the Hell House LLC Carmichael Manor are my favorites in the franchise. So those both get like 3.5, 4 stars from me. The ones in between get a little lost in themselves, I believe. There's one where there's just a scene where they're in the afterlife, I believe, and I just can't deal with that. And then there's really bad CGI. Anyway, Hell House LLC series is one of what I watched this month. I also saw Thelma, which, if you haven't seen Thelma, I talked about it briefly in one of my other videos. It's so fantastic. It is not a horror film at all, but it is, I believe, an indie film or an art film. When a 93-year-old Thelma Post gets duped by a phone scammer pretending to be her grandson, she sets out on a treacherous quest across the city to reclaim what was taken from her. It's such a fun movie. It's also sad at times because it's about a little old lady dealing with aging and how she's perceived and what she can and cannot do anymore. But overall, I think it's really uplifting and just a fun adventure. So if you haven't seen Thelma, I definitely recommend checking it out. And I gave Thelma 5 stars on Letterboxd. That's how much I loved it. I never give movies 5 stars. Now let's talk about a movie that got 1 star. 2022's Brightwood. A couple finds themselves trapped while on the run around a pond. That's the description of the movie, and that's pretty much the movie. I did a whole review with spoilers if you want to check that out. But the movie is good for what they had to work with, but there's so many different ways that the story could have been done better. And the character development didn't really make sense, and I don't think they used the full resources of the world that they built to their advantage. I think it's definitely worth watching if you want like a popcorn flick to put on and like poke fun at with some friends. Maybe your friends don't really like horror films. They might like that one just because it's ridiculous. And the tone of the film kept changing. So it was like very serious, scary, panicking, and then all of a sudden comical or almost like romantic, like a failed romance kind of thing, like kind of like a train wreck. I don't know. That's what I would say the movie was. I talked myself into a circle in the video that I made about it. It was very quick. I think it's like 8 minutes long. So I tricked myself into thinking that I actually liked the film. I've come to the conclusion again that I don't like the movie. So I recommend watching it if you have nothing else to do. It's streaming free on Tubi, but other than that, don't go out of your way. Okay, next up, a lot of people are going to disagree with. I watched The Haunting of Sharon Tate. This is not the first time I watched this, but it's the first time I watched this in years. Based on a true story of one of the most horrific murders in history. Pregnant with director Roman Polanski's child and awaiting his return from Europe, 26-year-old Hollywood actress Sharon Tate becomes plagued by visions of her imminent death. This film came out in 2019, and it's starring Hilary Duff, who I believe also was the writer and producer for it. It's a fun watch. I enjoyed this movie. I think it's done in poor taste just a bit. I can see what Hilary Duff was going for. I don't want to spoil it for you. I can see that her intentions weren't bad with this film. However, I don't think it should have been made. I know it sounds like I don't like the movie. I do like the movie. I think it's really fun and it is scary in its own unique way. But we could have done a movie like this without it being about Sharon Tate. And it might have done better. I think Hilary Duff's performance was good. Her accent was terrible. Felt very character-esque. Anyway, I think you should check out The Haunting of Sharon Tate. I don't think it's streaming for free anywhere. Oh, it's not true. It is included on Amazon Prime. That's where I watched it. This was my most anticipated horror film, at least thus far. I was really excited to see it, and there's a movie theater within walking distance of my new apartment, and they were showing it, and they normally don't show like blockbuster movies, so I was very excited, and I went to go see it just last week. That is Longlegs. In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. I think this movie is so unique, and I've never seen anything quite like it. But like I said in my full review of this, the closest I can think is Silence of the Lambs, which apparently the director came out and said was intentional. It wasn't supposed to be Silence of the Lambs, but it definitely takes inspiration from it. Anyway, you've probably heard enough people talk about Longlegs. I think that you should definitely go see it. I don't think it's the scariest movie that has ever been made. It didn't truly scare me. What it did was make me feel unsettled, and it was really good at immersing me and pulling me in. Performances of the actors, like Nick Cage, I didn't even know that was him. And I'm really glad they decided to go with prosthetics, because his acting was just so over the top in this film, and his face would have been distracting. But I think 10 out of 10, you should definitely go see Longlegs. I rated Longlegs 4.5 stars, because it was almost perfect. Didn't quite like the ending of Longlegs, but I'm not sure how they could have done it differently. By the way, I don't think I set the rating for The Haunting of Sharon Tate. My rating for The Haunting of Sharon Tate was 2 stars. Which is being generous, but also I really like the movie. I'm very confusing, sorry. The next movie I watched is not a horror film in the slightest, and that's a Tubi original film called Spread. The lead actress in this is Elizabeth Giles, who I know from Victorious on Nickelodeon. It's the only thing I've seen her in except for this film. An ambitious journalist lands a job at a failing adult magazine run by an industry veteran and must reconcile her ideals while reviving the business. This movie is so fun. It has a terrible budget. It's not great quality. The acting is pretty good. The story is fun. There's lots of crude humor. The logic of this film laps at times. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I think this journalist ends up being in charge of marketing, but then she also does like UX design. Like, it doesn't make sense. But it's fun, and that's what matters. It's definitely a popcorn film. Don't take it too seriously if you watch it. Yeah, I really enjoyed Spread, and I gave it 3 stars. Anyway, Spread is streaming for free on Tubi, so I definitely recommend checking it out if you want like a little popcorn flick. And our last film so far is The Ring, 2002. I've talked about this movie so many times before. Before you die, you see. It sounded like just another urban legend, a videotape filled with nightmarish images leading to a phone call foretelling the viewer's deaths in exactly 7 days. As a newspaper reporter, Rachel Keller is naturally skeptical of the story until 4 teenagers are all met with mysterious deaths exactly 1 week after watching such a tape. Allowing her investigative curiosity to get the better of her, Rachel tracks down the video and watches it. Now she has just 7 days to unravel the mystery of The Ring. I love The Ring. It's one of my favorite PG-13 horror films, and I popped it on the other day. I was feeling really depressed, but it was gloomy outside, and I now live in the Pacific Northwest where this takes place, and it was raining, so I threw it on. It made me feel better. I did a little horror puzzle. It's just like a cozy classic. Can you call a remake a classic? I don't know. Let me know. I rate The Ring 3 stars. Like I said, I'm not that hard to please, and that's my average score on Letterboxd. If you want to see my other average scores on Letterboxd, feel free to follow me here. Okay, that's it for this one. It was very quick and short. I just wanted to get it done. That was my puppy, sorry. Just wanted to get it done, and I promise in the month of August, now that I'm settled, I'm actually going to watch a lot more movies, and I'm going to try to go to the theater and see new releases as often as I possibly can within, you know, a relevant time frame. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.